Good afternoon, college football fans. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to ACE's Best of Week 2. For those who may be first-time listeners, this is where I give a recap of some of my favorite games from the weekend, highlight top performances, and even hand out a few awards. So let's take a look back at some of Saturday's best action. Perhaps the biggest story of the weekend was the Sun Belt Conference absolutely dominating their opponents from the Big 12, going a perfect 3-0 on the day, with two of those games being decided by 15 points or more. One of those games was the matchup between Louisiana Lafayette and the number 23 ranked Iowa State Cyclones, who came into the game as an 11-point favorite and a team that some considered to be a dark horse in the race for a Big 12 championship. After the Cyclones took an early 7-0 lead, it was Louisiana Lafayette's Chris Smith who got the Raging Cajuns on the board with an electrifying 95-yard kickoff return to tie the game at 7 in the second quarter. Iowa State would respond with a touchdown of their own to take a 14-7 lead. Louisiana would then add a field goal before the half to make it 14-10. The score stood at 14-10 well into the third quarter, thanks to play like this from the Raging Cajun defense. Louisiana would take its first lead of the game with just under 13 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when Levi Lewis connected with Peter LeBlanc on this 78-yard touchdown strike to make the score 17-14. After another stop by the Cajun defense, Louisiana would extend the lead to 24-14 on this 83-yard punt return by Eric Garrett, giving the special teams its second touchdown return of the day. Louisiana would add one more score late in the fourth as Trey Regis would punch it in from 2 yards out, sealing the win for Louisiana as they put away the number 23 ranked Cyclones 31-14. The next victim in the Big 12 was Kansas State as they welcomed Arkansas State into Manhattan. K-State looked strong early as they jumped out to a 21-7 lead on the 7-yard TD pass from Skylar Thomas. Arkansas State would come storming back with 3 straight touchdowns of their own, the first being this double pass from Jeff Foreman to Rashad Paul for the 48-yard score. Kansas State would score 10 straight points in the fourth quarter to take a 31-28 lead, but Lane Hatcher would find Jonathan Adams Jr. on a 17-yard touchdown pass to give Arkansas State the 35-31 win over Kansas State. The final Sun Belt vs. Big 12 contest kicked off late Saturday night as Coastal Carolina took on Kansas, and the Jayhawks had no answers for Coastal QB Grayson McCall, who got the party started with his 12-yard touchdown run. It was all Coastal Carolina and Grayson McCall in the first half as he would throw for 3 touchdowns, including this 25-yard strike to give Coastal a 28-0 lead. Down 28-3 in the third quarter, Kansas tried to claw its way back by scoring 2 straight touchdowns, including this 61-yard run by Velton Gardner to close the gap to 28-17. But unfortunately, that was as close as the Jayhawks would get, as Grayson McCall would add another score, and Coastal Carolina would go on to win it 38-23. Time to hand out ACE's Dog of the Week award, and this week's award goes to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who are a 13-point underdog heading into Saturday's contest against Florida State. Now, those who follow me on Twitter would have known that I love Georgia Tech to play this one close and perhaps win the game outright, which is exactly what they did. Things didn't look good early for Georgia Tech as Asante Samuel Jr. intercepted freshman Jeff Sims' pass, taking it back across the 50 into Florida State territory. This would be the first of 2 interceptions on the day for Samuel. That pick would help set up Florida State's first scoring drive of the day as QB James Blackman found Keyshawn Helen for a 3-yard touchdown pass, giving the Noles a 7-0 lead. Georgia Tech struggled to get on the board for most of the day, as 2 trips inside the red zone ended in 2 blocked field goal attempts by Tech kicker Jude Kelly. But it was plays like this from the swarming Georgia Tech defense that kept them in the game, taking down Blackman for one of their 3 sacks on the day. Georgia Tech would finally get on the scoreboard with 6:13 left in the third quarter when Jordan Mason took the handoff and ran 19 yards for a Yellow Jacket touchdown. As we enter the fourth quarter, Georgia Tech is on the move again, trailing 13-7, when the rookie Jeff Sims finds Malachi Carter for this leaping touchdown grab. However, Tech's kicking woes would continue as Jude Kelly would have his extra point blocked, leaving the game tied at 13. With the game tied at 13 late in the fourth quarter, Georgia Tech's defense stepped up once again, stripping Blackman and returning it all the way inside the Tech 15. That play would set up Jude Kelly for the go-ahead field goal with just under 9 minutes to go in the game. With a 16-13 lead, the Tech defense would stop Florida State on fourth down, taking over possession of the ball and running out the clock, as Georgia Tech pulls off the upset 16-13, giving them a big win in ACC play. As the old saying goes, we've saved the best for last, and the last game on my best of week 2 is Ace's Game of the Week between UT San Antonio and Texas State, who played an absolute classic on Saturday. We pick up the action early in the first quarter with Texas State opening up this high-scoring contest when running back Brock Sturgis catches the swing pass from Tyler Vitt and races 66 yards for the Bobcat touchdown, giving them a 7-0 lead. UT San Antonio would answer right back on the ensuing possession when running back Sincere McCormick breaks free for this 58-yard run, taking it all the way down to the 17-yard line. And on the very next play, Roadrunner QB Frank Harris keeps the read option, takes it around the left end for a 17-yard touchdown, tying the game at 7. After adding a field goal to make it 10-7, the Roadrunners were once again on the move inside the red zone as Frank Harris takes the read option around the right end for a 19-yard touchdown. The Roadrunners were not done scoring as a 9-play drive right before the half ends with this Sincere McCormick 5-yard touchdown run, giving the Roadrunners a 24-7 lead. Texas State would come out swinging in the second half as running back Jamare Shareed takes a screen pass 31 yards to the house for a Bobcat touchdown, closing the gap to 24-14. But just when you thought the Bobcats were ready to get back in the game, Frank Harris keeps the read option, makes a man miss, and gets in the end zone for his third rushing touchdown of the day. Down 31-14, Texas State claws its way back with this 12-yard TD run from Calvin Hill, closing the gap to 10 points heading into the fourth quarter. Texas State would open up the scoring in the fourth when Brock Sturgis punches it in from the 2-yard line for his second touchdown of the day. After UT San Antonio would kick a field goal to go up 6 late in the fourth quarter, Texas State would drive into the red zone with a chance to take the lead when Rashad Wisdom steps in front of a Tyler Vitt pass and takes it back 81 yards for a touchdown, appearing to seal the victory for the Roadrunners. But the Bobcats had other ideas as they marched right down the field in a 2-minute offense before Vitt throws one up to Marcel Barbee, who comes down with a 20-yard touchdown catch to cut the lead to 6 with 1:51 to go in the game. After failing to recover the onside kick, Texas State had to rely on their defense in all 3 timeouts to get a quick 3-and-out, forcing UT San Antonio to punt it away to Bobcat return man Jeremiah Haydell, who takes it back for an electrifying 91-yard punt return. But with a chance to take the lead, the Bobcats would miss the extra point, leaving the game tied at 41 and were headed to overtime. In overtime, UT San Antonio would strike first as wide receiver Joshua Cephas fights off pass interference and comes away with his one-handed touchdown catch to give the Roadrunners a 48-41 lead. Not to be outdone, Texas State wide receiver Marcel Barbee makes a circus catch of his own for his second touchdown of the day. The extra point would tie the game at 48 as we head into the second overtime. But in the second OT, the kicking game would once again haunt Texas State as kicker Alan Orana misses the chip shot field goal that would have given them the lead. That miss gave UT San Antonio a chance to win it with this 29-yard field goal by Hunter Duplessis. He nails it, and the Roadrunners come away with a wild 51-48 double overtime win in Ace's Game of the Week. Well, I hope you enjoyed this recap of my favorite games from Week 2. Be sure to check out my website for more content and follow me on Twitter. That puts a wrap on Week 2, but before we go, I have one final award to hand out, and that's the Player of the Week award, which goes to Coastal Carolina QB Grayson McCall, who accounted for 5 total touchdowns in the win against Kansas.